Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and today I'm going to be showing you the first little bit of my collaboration with Blenderbeetle. Now, inside this video, you're not going to get to be able to hear too much about the story as much as you're going to be able to see and hear some of the pre-production process. The first thing that we're going to be focusing on is the character designs, and we've also drawn a number of backgrounds to see what we can come up with. And some of these drawings are mine and some of them are Blenderbeetle's. There were times when I really thought I was right on the mark, so some of them are really more developed than others, but then I'd have to start all over again at square one and rethink how this character would look. But in the end, I think I'm happy with how the character design turned out. Now that we have the figure all drawn up, it's time to sculpt this guy as the final step of character design. Because like I said in my Krita tips and tricks video, this is a rather large project that we're going to be working on, and this character is going to be with Blenderbeetle and I for quite some time, so it does need to have an actual sculpture as a reference for us. Now, in the design of my avatar, I don't really feel like I showed you guys how to make the armature, which also functions as a tripod to the sculpture. I don't feel like I did that very well, so here I have a better camera angle, a better camera, and I have made a point to show this step more effectively. Now notice how I started out with a normal coat hanger. I cut off the hook, threw it away, and notice how I cut the coat hanger wire in 3 equal lengths now that I've straightened it out. I use needle nose pliers, but if you have arthritis you can use a Dremel to cut them rather easily, but I would suggest doing that outside. I then create the feet to the tripod and use my first wire as the template for the other 2. I then create a hook on the end of all 3 and then cinch them down so that they're hooked rather good to one another. I then braid them, and I feel like I display the braiding process rather good in this video. Okay, so we have our 3 strands, and we are going to start to wrap these around each other. Okay, so this is the optimal position. So we're going to wrap these 2 around each other. Then wrap these 2 around each other. Then wrap these 2 together. These 2 together. These 2 together. And that should be good. After I finished filming this, I informed Blenderbeetle that a few things would need to be changed, or at least adjusted, with the design of the character. I really feel that sculpting is the final process in character design, because if there's a shape in the front view that contradicts the form of the character in the profile view, you won't truly know that until you sculpt the character. And Blenderbeetle seemed okay with that, because we're just in the pre-production stage of this little cartoon that we're making. I know that my channel isn't about sculpting, it's about animation, but I do feel as though every aspect of animation should be covered on my channel, and this is a time-tested technique to character design. It's an important step in the animation process, and these days people just don't seem to have the budget to do it. Occasionally you'll see me tapping the sculpture, especially in areas where I've applied new clay. This helps the new clay just get pressed in and mesh well into the already established clay that's been applied to the sculpture. If you're sculpting with natural clays and such like that, you'll want to clap your hands on a lump of clay quite a bit, and that helps get air bubbles out of the clay so that you don't run the risk of it blowing up in the kiln. But since I'm working with Sculpey, a type of artificial oil-based clay that has the capacity of curing in the oven, I don't need to worry too much about air bubbles, but I do need to make sure each addition of clay meshes well into the rest of the sculptural structure. I'm really trying to make sure that I keep the sculpture in the frame. It's rather difficult for me to make sure that I do that I don't really know what I can do better other than making sure that the camera is pointed a little bit towards me while still showing off some of the table. But really, I thought that was what I was doing. I'll have to work harder on it in the future. I do apologize. That pretty much concludes it for the narration of this video. Just feel free to continue watching. I think that, you know, sculpting is one of those forgotten arts. It's all about the 3D modeling, and I think people should keep in mind, you know, if you do not know how to do 3D modeling, learning how to sculpt by hand is not that difficult. It may take some time to do it well, but, you know, it's not as difficult as some people may make it out to be. So, yeah, that finishes the narration. Feel free to enjoy the music and continue watching. Well, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.